Well, my intention this week was to have a finished outdoor kitchen to show you guys that we've made mostly out of recycled materials. However, what I'm quickly realizing out here on the homestead is life just doesn't work that way. We're probably not going to have a completed project for you every week, which was sort of my idea in the beginning for this channel. But I was thinking about it last night as I was yesterday kind of trying to rush us to get it done, to go get supplies, to look through what we already have, to try and get it all together. And I thought, you know what, that's not the video that I want to make, because I want this channel to be real. You know, I think that's why people, including myself, like watching YouTube, is because you're watching real people do real things in real time. So I thought instead I'd just sort of show you guys what we've done so far and the many small and a little bit bigger projects that we're working on right now. So part of the reason a lot of our projects are still on the small end is because we're still waiting to close on our house. So for those of you who have been watching the channel, you probably know that the money we make from closing on our house back in Las Cruces is going to sort of be our nest egg for funding a lot of the projects here on the homestead. And then I'm going to be starting working here at the end of July to kind of meet our monthly needs. And I work as a nurse, so I'll be at our local urgent care. It's about 5 in the morning right now. I've kind of taken to filming really early in the morning. One, because the light is very nice, but two, because the boys are still asleep. I could also film in the evening time, but in the evening, I really feel like that's optimal family time for us. It's nice and cool outside, so the boys are wanting to play. I'm usually getting dinner together. Jag's finishing up some projects. And then, you know, when all that is said and done, we get our bedtime routine going. So anyways, I want to give you a little tour of where we're at now, talk to you about some of our vision for the future and a few things we've done. We've really only been out here about 4 weeks total because we moved out here, and then as you saw in our latest video, we went on a huge road trip, so we were gone for a few weeks. So before that and then now, we've probably had about 4 weeks total getting it together. So keep that in mind. This is going to be a really long journey. What we're realizing is we probably get a few hours a day in. Sometimes Jag will keep working while I'm with the boys, but we really get about a few hours a day in of solid homestead work. One, because we're in the middle of July in Arizona, and during the heat of the day, it's honestly almost dangerous to be working really hard outside. So we mostly get our stuff done really early in the morning and in the evening. And then during the day, we're hanging out with our kids, finding ways to beat the heat, whether that's going down to the river, or maybe we go into town to go to the aquatic center. Right now, the kids are doing swim lessons. Or sometimes we're just in the camper playing games or watching a movie. And then there's just the day-to-day, you know, having meals, cleaning up, changing diapers. It's real life. Anyways, I just walked up our hill because I wanted to show you guys this. This is our little guest camper. We remodeled the inside of this a little bit, and as you can see, Jag brought some turf up, and this, we haven't even uncovered it yet, but this is a little propane fire pit. So we'll probably have just a regular fire pit as well, but we already had this. As you know, we're trying to use all the stuff that we have. Same with the turf. Actually, people gave us a lot of this. It's funny when you tell people you're homesteading on a budget, they start giving you all kinds of stuff. So that's why they're kind of irregular scrap pieces, but we're gonna fit those out a little bit better. So this is our old camper, old reliable. Jag kind of started fitting out the kitchen with wood, which is cute. It's a little kind of storage reading area here, living room, sitting area, / you can eat in here. We don't have the table in here right now. And here's the little bedroom area. We do have some of our hunting stuff stored over here as well. So we still want to do some edging down towards the bottom and do some more painting, finish in here. But it all takes time. And then we'll have a composting toilet outside. I've had a lot of people ask about whether or not we're allowed to do things like composting toilets and gray water, etc. We really have been talking to the Planning and Zoning Committee throughout this process. We're lucky to be in a county that is pretty open-minded and doesn't have a lot of regulations against things like that. So we're very lucky there. I know people are very curious about exactly where we are, and I totally understand. We're just not ready to divulge that quite yet. You know, it's really easy to put stuff out on the internet. It's not always easy to take it back, and we're still kind of new to this YouTube thing, and we're just sort of erring on the side of caution. So I think for the most part, people are pretty understanding about that. So I thank you. Okay, that said, let's turn this around. Jag's up already working on, actually, he's working on the roof of our camper because while we were getting ready to go to the hardware store for some stuff for the outdoor kitchen, I realized that there was a little bit of a leak inside. So Jag went up to look at that yesterday. Luckily, he knows how to fix it. So we're working on that today too. So here you can see the carport, or camper port really, that we put up. We showed this whole process in another video, but you didn't get to see the side paneling we put on because we didn't have time to put it on yet. We put most of it on the back side, the north side, because that's where our biggest windows are and where we were losing the most cool air from inside the camper. So that's made a huge difference. Also, I know a lot of people were concerned about the wind picking this up. Oh, and I know there's dirt here, but that will come off with our next rain. So people were concerned about it getting picked up by the wind. I failed to mention this in the last video, but we do have it staked in with some heavy duty rebar. And then before the windy season comes, which is in the spring, we're going to be digging out the 4 corners and cementing that. We just, time is the most precious resource, and we didn't have quite the time or really the need to do it right away. We've had some pretty big winds. The wind here, it kind of comes up, then it dies down, and it's been fine so far. So we should be good till spring. So now I'm kind of climbing. Oh, we also got our electric pole put in, which has just been amazing. I have, I've always taken power for granted just because I've always lived somewhere that's had it. And so getting that in was such a huge relief, having enough, because before with our generator, we couldn't run both of our ACs, or we had to pick what we were using the power for, and then we were trying not to use too much of it because, we had to fill it with gas or propane, and just having this is a huge relief. So now I'm climbing up our hill here, which is behind the fifth wheel. This is going to be our main desert food forest. These are all mesquite trees, and as you saw in our last video, we are trying to build these up using boomerang berms. The boomerang berms catch the rainwater and let it sink into the ground, allowing the mesquites to have a little bit of extra water in that soil, which will help them to grow into trees, and they'll be our top story for everything that we plant underneath. We will also plant other native trees that grow a little bit taller that will be part of the top story. But mesquite trees are so amazing. We definitely wanted to utilize what we already have. We've also got things like prickly pear, which are also amazing, and I will probably be propagating some of these around to help store water in the soil as well. You know, it's funny because the longer we're here, the more I'm realizing how much life there is out here. Not just the plants, but the animals. We see lizards, we see tarantulas, we see all kinds of birds, we see rabbits, and it's just on and on. So I think sometimes it takes a little bit of a trained eye to see all the life in the desert, but once you start adjusting, it's pretty incredible. So up here will also be some of our animals and our compost, which right now, I'll show you our compost right now. We've just kind of dug a hole and we're throwing our food scraps in it. It's not very well rounded or thought out, but it's just one of those things where we don't want to just throw away our food scraps, so let's just put them sort of in the general area where we want our compost. And that is another thing on our to-do list. Let me turn you around for a second here. So here's the camper. So our vision for out here is envision this becoming a path, and this whole area is going to be the garden. So we're planning on kind of trenching out to have a wall around it for not just a windbreak, but to help us prevent critters coming in and eating the garden. We're probably going to we'll make a whole video on this, but we'll probably do cattle paneling and then fill it with rocks. So it'll be like 2 rows of cattle paneling and then filled with rocks, which is kind of a project that we can just do over the next few months. It's something the boys can help with also, because they can pick up rocks and put them in the cattle paneling. This whole area will be fenced. I want to grow up these mesquite trees, so this corner will sort of be a hangout, relax area. And then we're trying to use as much stuff that we already had as possible. So we had these Whoa, what was that, Rebel? I think we might have a... Hey, you stay over here. Jag! There's a rattlesnake down there. There's a rattlesnake! That was real life. We just found our first rattlesnake on our property. Rebel found it, which is why it's great to have dogs, because they're always sniffing around. Ay, ay, ay. I have to say, I haven't seen any snakes during the heat of the day. They're just like human beings. They want to be cool. So the morning and the evening is when you really need to watch out. So, the drama of the homestead. Anyways, sorry for that interruption. So we're going to be starting with some raised hugelkultur beds. We've got these troughs that we'll take the bottoms out of, and then we have cinder blocks, which, as I've said before, we're just trying to use what we've got before we start buying new stuff. That's a trough as well that we probably actually will continue to use as a trough. And then I've just got some other gardening stuff in here. So you really got to use your imagination, but this will be a garden. Now I'm going to take you over to our area that I kind of feel we use this area to hang out, but we're also kind of using it to put all of our tools because we don't have storage yet. We've got firewood. Oops. We've got firewood. We've got our basketball hoop. We've got dog house that they never use, dog food. And then this is a carport that we had that we just kind of created a shady space. We have some more turf scraps down here just to keep down the dust and have a place for the kids to play. Jag's in here working on our kitchen area. This has toys in it, seating. This is gonna go on the kitchen. Hey babe.
Hey my love.
You can see we have, this is runoff propane. We use that to cook. We also have a grill right here, and then a crock pot. So, and then we also have an air fryer. Those are the ways we're cooking right now. I found this sink for 10 bucks at a thrift store. I realize it's not a big kitchen sink, but it'll still serve to wash hands and do some light dishes. We'll show you guys this when it's all done. So basically we have this 5-gallon tank right here, and then we're gonna hook it up with a water pump and a hose right to the sink.
About a 50-gallon tank?
Oh yeah, what did I say?
5.
Oh yeah, 55. So what are we doing with the tank?
We have a water pump that your dad gave us, and I'm gonna find a way to pump water from this to your sink.
So that's the goal, to have some running water out here. So there you have it. That's a lot of what we're working on right now. Do you like my Bigfoot shirt? My friends got this for me when we were out in Oregon, which is Bigfoot country. So that's a lot of what we're working on right now. We, every night, you know, we sit out here once the kids are in bed and look at the stars, and we just talk about all the things that we want to do. So right now, we're trying to find this place of being inspired and wanting to move forward, but also just enjoying where we're at right now, you know, because sometimes it can feel a little overwhelming having so many projects that we want to complete. And also knowing that because we're in the time of life that we're in, where we have 3 young kids and we really want to spend time with them as well, things just go a little bit slower for us. That's life, right? Just trying to make your dreams happen, but also be present, have your feet on the ground, and make sure that everyone is getting some type of fulfillment, that everyone is getting attention, that you're unified as a family. And if that means let's go to the library for an hour or two to cool down and read some books and play with their games, then that's great. You know, you've still arrived. You don't always have to feel like it's not enough. And I think that's important for me to realize right now, is that we have arrived. We're here. We're on our homestead. And just because we're still in the stage where we're really just beginning to create the infrastructure of our homestead, and we don't already have something established with chickens and rabbits and a milk cow and a barn, and our rainwater harvesting system isn't put in yet, and our house, we probably won't even start on our house for a few years because we're really focused on terraforming the land, or in other words, changing the land so that we can catch as much rain in the soil of our land as possible to help grow the plants and the wildlife around us. So this is the journey, guys. Thanks for coming along with us. We'll see you next week.